Hi everyone. So tonight I'm going to be talking a little bit about something we call slut shaming. And this is kind of like, I guess, a response video, so to speak, in terms of the Dr. Phil episode from last Friday, where Lacey Green was on it talking about slut shaming and a couple other guests. And I'm just going to touch on a couple of things briefly because I could go on and on about this, and I'm I've been trying to keep my videos short lately, and the last two have been pretty short, so I'm gonna try to stick with that. Plus, I'm probably leaving soon. But anyway, so like I said, Lacey Green was on Dr. Phil last Friday, talking about slut shaming. Although she hardly got to talk at all, which is really a disappointment. Um, Not only was she kind of basically ignored and talked over, but she just didn't really get that much of an opportunity to begin with. And she actually posted a video the other day talking about what had happened on the show, and she even said that the most important part, well, the part that she felt was most important in the conversation was actually not even aired on TV. So, what a surprise. Um, Overall, I I thought Dr. Phil wasn't too bad. I mean, especially considering he's a devout Christian from living in Texas. Uh, he is fairly open-minded and he does know a bit about the subject, but he still is kind of, I feel like he's kind of unclear about some things, and some of the things he said I didn't really agree with. I think he could have said it better, or maybe learned a little bit more um, about the subject before kind of saying something about it, if you know what I mean. Uh, like for example, towards, I think it was at the beginning of the episode, there was a teenage girl whose name I don't remember. I want to say it's like Sabrina. She's 16, and she had posted 4 pictures in a photo set on Instagram, I believe, and it said something along the lines. I'm sure you've all either seen this or, you know, other photo sets and whatnot mocking this, but it says something along the lines of, like, hey ladies, did you know that your boobs belong inside your shirt? Something, I don't know if it's word for word, but something along those lines. And and it went viral, of course, as expected. She claimed she didn't expect it to, but I mean, it's not a surprise. And Dr. Phil was saying how basically, I'm pretty sure he said basically how this is kind of how slut shaming started, and that is extremely ignorant. I mean, I don't really have any other words. Slut shaming has existed for ever, pretty much. And I mean, while what she did was wrong, it's not what started it. I mean, I don't know if he meant online, but even then, that's not what started it. This has been going on for quite some time, so I thought he was definitely unclear about that. Um, and he also actually said that what she did wasn't, inherently, wrong or anything like that, when really it is. I mean, who are you, a 16-year-old, to decide, you know, how women dress or live their lives. You know what I mean? Like that's just she was out of line with it. And I mean it could have been a lot worse, sure, but what she did was wrong in my opinion. And he didn't think so at all. So I don't know. That was something else I didn't agree with. And then also at the end, or towards the end of the episode, he was talking about promiscuity and how that's something that roots from, self-esteem issues and problems within the family or this and that, and how it's never about sex. And just like, while sometimes that is the case, sometimes you know women who do have low self-esteem do engage in a lot of sex, but that's not the case for everyone, and sometimes it is about the sex. I mean I know people who love sex, and it's not because they're having, you know, issues or anything. I mean, sex is awesome. Like, let's be real. So, I don't know. I thought, wow, that is the case. Sometimes he made it seem like that's always the case, you know? So that I disagreed with. But everything else he said, I mean, pretty much was, you know, spot on or something that I agreed with. But I'm just gonna touch on, like I said, I'm just gonna touch on a few things. Um, and one of the main guests on the show, besides Lacey, was this man named Jason, and he supports slut shaming. He calls him, you know, refers himself as a slut shamer, so to speak. And he thinks, you know, sluts are like the worst thing in the world, is what it seems like. And I I don't even know, like, I don't even have the words to describe how offended and pissed off I was whenever he opened his mouth, even. Like, this guy is a piece of shit. Point blank. I mean, you're welcome to have your opinions, but to just downright bash someone for how they dress and sometimes act, like, really? I mean, holy shit. I mean, I've seen and heard people slut shame constantly, but this guy, like, he took it to a whole new level. And I wrote down some of his quotes, or, you know, typed them out from the episode and saved them. I actually put a couple of them in, you know, my statuses and was talking about it on Facebook. But one of them was, if a woman dresses like a slut, teases drunk and sexually frustrated men in a shady bar late at night, it doesn't make the rape or sexual assault okay, but it does tell me that the woman is a stupid, irresponsible twit, and honestly, I have no sympathy for her. His words. He actually said this, I guess, to Dr. Phil behind the scenes, or whatever you want to call it, and Dr. Phil read it, the quote. Um, really? Really? So, the rape isn't okay, but because she teased a drunk man in a shady bar, he doesn't feel bad for her because she's an irresponsible twit. Okay, you know, let's not at all mind the fact that this drunk man is raping her. Let's just, you know, mind the fact that she was acting like a slut. That's really cool, you know. Blame the victim. That's all it's all fucking boils down to, is blame the victim. I can't. I have no words. Another one. This one really fucking drew the line for me. Uh, he's, you know, is in regards to slut walks, and he goes, the same guy, the slut walk is a protest done by a bunch of sluts in support of slutism. It's pro-sexual irresponsibility and it's pro-sexual perversion. The slut walks are nothing but public whining sessions about how hard life is being a girl. Let me tell you how fucking fuming I was when these words came out of this douchebag's mouth. Like, let me tell you, I immediately paused it and I was done. Like, I, what? What are you even saying? Honestly, what the fuck are you even saying? Because I don't understand. I'll actually read a conversation I had, because I actually posted that as my status, and in response, I said, I am fuming right now. Try being catcalled on a regular basis, stalked, harassed, etc., simply for being a woman. Most of the time, clothing isn't even a factor. These things happen to women regardless of how they are dressed or act, on a regular basis by scumbags. And even if the woman is dressed provocatively or is promiscuous, who the fuck cares? It's her choice, our choice. How someone dresses does not define who they are as a person. Try being fucking raped and then come talk to me or any woman about women whining about how hard it is being a girl. Like I was fuming. Like that is like, who are you to speak on behalf of women? You as a fucking white privileged piece of shit male living in a fucking patriarchal society. Who the fuck are you? Really, women whining about how hard it is being a girl when half or more of these women participating in slut walks probably have been raped? Oh, don't worry. It's just, it's another part of life. Shit happens. Stop bitching about it. Like that's basically what he's saying. Like, so you got raped. Oh, it's just another hardship. No. What the fuck? And then someone on my friends list decided to say, a male, of course. I don't get it. Why do they call it slow walks then? Shouldn't it be rape victim walks? I expect you'll think I'm out of line for this, but Jesus fucking Christ, someone needs to think about these things before they are put into action. You know how people are. Obviously, the point isn't getting across to the public. Everyone knows rape is vile, and if they want to make it about appearance as the catalyst, then I just can't get behind the walks in the same way with Occupy movements. It's just not organized well enough. It's wild and passionate, but that's not enough, and then it turns into, as you said, which I didn't say, I was quoting Jason, the guy in Dr. Phil, a bunch of idiots bitching. I'm all for awareness, but some things need to be done with a bit more sense in order to them. Peace and love, man, but goddamn it, common sense too. So, I don't know if he thinks that, whoever came up with slow walks was just like, oh, I'm gonna come up with this thing to, you know, raise awareness about, slut shaming and victim blaming and rape. And, what should I call it? I guess I'll call it slut walks. Why not? Like, no, like, dude, that's what? Like, people don't just fucking say I mean, in this case, people don't just fucking make up anything they want. Like, there's obviously a purpose and meaning behind it. What are you talking about? So it's called a slut walk because it's protesting against slut shaming. Just because a woman may dress or act like some people may consider a slut doesn't mean she is one, and regardless of whether or not she wants to consider herself one, she is still human and does not deserve to be harassed, assaulted, or raped just for appearing to be a slut. It's slut walks because it's fucking protesting about people slut shaming. Like, mind fucking blown. So then he goes, no, of course not, but if you dress like a fucking piece of shit, his words, the chances of being treated as such are higher. I don't see how that doesn't make sense. Sure, it's fun to dress up and party and whatnot, but people need to stop being so careless. Your attire does matter in a world set by standards. I think girls need to wise up and men need to be gentlemen more. So I said, no one is entitled to a female's body, regardless of how she dresses, period. Half the time, women who are raped aren't even dressed or acting provocatively or promiscuous. Also, not all of the women who participate in slut walks are half naked either. Many of them are dressed casually or even in sweats. The man, Jason, whose quote I put in my status, said that even if a woman is wearing something low cut, he considers her a slut. That's ridiculous. This is fucking America. Women shouldn't have to cover up as much as possible just to appease a piece of shit man, and even another woman. Like Lacey Green said in the episode, the word slut is a sexist term, and slut shaming is done to keep women in their place. I'm not having that bullshit. Now please get off my status before this really blows up. Rape is a sensitive topic, and I would really appreciate if you don't come at me with your fucked up notions and misogynistic bullshit. Every good person deserves to be treated like a human. How they dress should not define them or allow for them to be harassed, assaulted, or raped. The end. And then he just says, "Yerp." Classic. And then, actually my partner's mom commented on it and was like, "You go, girl. It doesn't matter what a woman wears. Unless she agrees to let someone touch her, they'd better keep their hands off and their mouths shut. No woman is responsible for any male's failure to exercise appropriate self-control unless he is her own son and under the age of 3. This conversation is not about work-appropriate attire or behavior, but the right of each of us to appear as we choose when on our own time. And there is never an excuse for rape." And then I responded, because I forgot to mention this before. I said, also, Robbie said, your attire does matter in a world set by standards. That's the point. Clothing or lack thereof does matter in this society, and it shouldn't. I'm sorry, but I'm not going to just say, okay, I guess you're right, and deal with it. This is something that needs to change, and has needed to for quite some time now. Guys walk around with their boxers showing constantly and no shirt on, but God forbid a woman wears a low-cut shirt. Get out of here. Slut-shaming and victim-blaming need to stop immediately, because not only does it harm someone emotionally and even lead to suicide in some cases, it feeds into rape culture. No woman is ever asking to be raped. Ever. Get that sick and twisted notion out of your head. That is another fucking thing that I can't even fucking express to you how much I despise that. When people say, you're asking for it, you are asking for it. What fucking planet do you live on where someone asks to be raped? Please, please humor me with your fucking response. How that is a logical statement, how that's appropriate, how that's okay to say to someone. Please. Are you fucking kidding me? I mean, he didn't say that, but I've heard that. I'm sure everyone's heard that fucking time and time again. No one is asking to be raped. Nobody. I can promise you that. Nobody is asking to be raped. So, like I said to him, you know, and I just said that as a general statement, not just to him, but to other people who are liking his comments and shit. Just get that out of your head, because that is fucking disgusting and a horrible thing to say. But anyway, so that was just my, you know, conversation, and I figured I would just read that because that's, you know, basically everything that I was gonna say anyway. So that was that. I actually want to deleting him because he's posted other fucking sexist bullshit before, and I'm done, honestly. But that was that. The other thing, and probably last thing I want to talk about, the Dr. Phil video though, was the woman who was on there who is an advocate of modesty, who was the one who was constantly talking over Lacey the entire time, and, you know, basically just talking out of her ass and saying um, how she doesn't think it's safe for, you know, Lacey to be, you know, Lacey and other women like Lacey who are on YouTube and, you know, other social networking sites to be, you know, talking about, you know, sex and this and that such a positive light because she's concerned for, you know, our children, uh, you know, thinking it's okay to dress this way and act this way and blah blah blah, you know, and this and that, which was bullshit in itself. But I think the best part of, you know, out of anything she said was how she felt that, you know, by protesting against slut shaming that, you know, and thinking that dressing, you know, provocatively or whatever is okay, but by doing this, she feels that it makes her and other people who dress modestly feel ashamed of themselves. I think that was my favorite part. You know, let's try to, you know, turn things around and blame the victim because, you know, that's just what we do. Like, I'm sorry, but really, like, you're an asshole. Just shut up. Honestly, just shut the fuck up. I again, like, I don't have words for people like this. I don't even know like how to express myself or like my anger or anything about these people because it's just like I can't. I just can't fathom how someone could be such an ignorant piece of shit, honestly. I mean, like, more so the guy Jason than this woman, I don't remember her name. But still, I mean, like, I don't care if you dress modest or if you're for modesty, whatever, do your thing. But to think it's, you know, harmful to be, you know, sex positive or whatever, like, get out of here. And the fact that, you know, especially that you feel like, you know, you're the one being shamed because you're just honestly. No, like, this is about fucking slut shaming. Like, you know, sluts, so to speak, are the underdog here. Like, you're not. You know, I'm sorry, but I've never fucking heard a story on the news where a woman was, you know, dressed modestly and was constantly harassed and ridiculed and this and that, and called horrible names and everything that led her to committing suicide. I mean, maybe you guys have, I haven't personally. But then you have, you know, this young 15-year-old girl who was just on the news like a couple weeks ago, or, you know, however long ago, who was constantly being a slut, being called a slut and a whore, and, you know, this and that, and being harassed by, you know, a ton of people in school, online, and everything, because they heard that she had sex with 4 football players on the, you know, on the team in the school, and she committed suicide. And whether or not she had sex with these 4 guys, I don't know. I, I believe she did, because I think the football players, I think they like kind of admitted to it, but I don't know. Who really knows the story? You know, every aspect, you know, true aspect behind it. But the point is, even if she did, like, who cares? Honestly, like, if she has, you know, if she is someone who has self-esteem issues, or, you know, whatever, then, you know, that is an issue, because no one should feel that horrible about themselves, honestly. But to drive someone that far to kill themselves, you gotta, honestly, like, I don't even know what to say anymore. Just please, be a fucking decent human being. Like, honestly, no one deserves this bullshit.